Hi guys, I'm back with another video for you today, talking to you about two fragrances that are currently selling over at Fragrance Buy. One of them happens to be from Sospiro, the latest fragrance, Il Padrino. I really love the fragrances that this house has been launching as of late, and I wanted to make sure I did a review on Il Padrino, and that's what I have for you today. But I also have a second fragrance. The latest, I believe this is the latest FOMO fragrance. It's called FRAGLOVER'S Tea, this one right here. So I'm going to talk to you about these two fragrances all coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian talking to you about two recent fragrance launches. So the first one I'm talking about is Sospiro, and I've been a fan, as I said, of Sospiro. Still really love Dolce Melodia and also Dolce Sonata, which happens to be two of my most favorite from the house. But Il Padrino also comes very close, and I'll tell you all about it. It was launched earlier this year at Essence. And during Essence, I wasn't able to meet with the brand and also smell the fragrance, but I smelled along my journey and my travels and really enjoyed the experience here. So it's an amber woody fragrance, Eau De Parfum concentration. And even though it's Eau De Parfum, the fragrances from this house are pretty intense, beefy, very long lasting, which is what I like about the fragrances. And so if you are someone that enjoys really fragrances with a lot of strength and intensity, I would highly recommend you check out the Sospiro fragrances. And not only, also because they were at one time connected to Xerjoff fragrances and Sospiro were the same company, but they separated. But thankfully, even though they separated, they still are launching some really powerful offerings. So Sospiro's Il Padrino features notes of dark rum, amaretto, blackcurrant, bergamot, patchouli blossom, dry amber, sandalwood, labdanum, vanilla woods, Siam, benzoin. So it's an amber woody fragrance. That's exactly what you get. But for me, when I smell this fragrance and when I'm testing it and wearing it, I definitely get the DNA of the house. They are definitely connected, especially the fact that Il Padrino somewhat reminds me of the DNA of Dolce Melodia more than Dolce Sonata. Not smelling identical, of course, but it is quite boozy. There's definitely a rummy experience here, boozy, but I feel like it's intensifying the ambery experience in the dry down. It's not, like, I wouldn't say this comes off like smelling like an aged liqueur or a spirit of some kind, but throughout the life of the fragrance, you experience booziness, and the experience is quite boozy all along with the amber woody style of the fragrance. Now, there's a lot of spices and fruits that come in as well, and even though they say dry amber here, I feel like I don't get the experience of dryness as much as a lot of other fragrances that go dry. Like some fragrances, even though they don't mention there's dry ingredients in there, comes off very dry. This has a syrupy quality, which I've mentioned in videos quite a bit. When fragrances are not dry and they act syrupy, I have better performance with the fragrance in the, instead of wearing something that's dry, having dry skin, they kind of fade away pretty fast because I've had great luck with the performance of a lot of Sospiro fragrances, and same thing with Il Padrino. I have very similar experience. Really fragrances with a lot of strength and power. They have great lingering power, and they have longevity. And then also they have great projection, which is what I get here with Il Padrino. So do I consider this one of the best from the line? I still consider Il Padrino a top 5 fragrance. In fact, I've got 4 that I've pulled out here, and I'm going to go over the 4, including Il Padrino. This is definitely a top 4 fragrance from the house. I couldn't figure out what my number 5 is, so that's why I've pulled 4. But again, if you're looking for something new from the house of Sospiro, I recommend you get your nose on it. It is currently selling at Fragrance Buy. It's $182 USA price, and then of course it's $249 Canadian dollars over at Fragrance Buy, which I have linked in the info box. So let me tell you a little bit more on how it compares to the other 3 fragrances here. So first off, I would say Vibrato, definitely really, really great, is number 4 here. So I'm doing a ranking of 4 fragrances from Sospiro. I connect Sospiro something distant from the other 3 I'm going to talk to you about. For me, it's a lot fresher, it's greener, it's zingier and spicier, with an overdose of ginger type, zingy, grapefruity type notes in here. Of course, people associate this with having similarities to Tigar from the House of Bulgari and those kind of fragrances. I agree, it is like that, but it's once again much powerful, much more powerful. It has a lot of strength, which is what I like about the fragrances of Sospiro. Fragrances that have great longevity, great lingering power, and also great projection. Sure, I love Tigar quite a bit, but I also really enjoy this fragrance. It's a perfect intense fragrance to wear in the summertime if you're looking for long-lasting fragrances. So it's number 4 here with the top 4 of Sospiro fragrances. And this I would find the least connected to the other 3 fragrances. So the next fragrance at number 3 happens to be Il Padrino. Yes, I did put Il Padrino at number 3 because I do enjoy Dolce Sonata and Dolce Melodia a lot more than Il Padrino. But I'm not saying Il Padrino is a disappointing fragrance. What I like about it is quite, strength with its booziness and amber woody touches. But as far as smell goes, I still consider Dolce Sonata and Dolce Melodia a bit better than Il Padrino, even though I've ranked Il Padrino at number 3. When I'm comparing them together, the smell of Dolce Sonata and Dolce Melodia for me are much more top-notch in comparison to Il Padrino, but I feel like Il Padrino will appeal to someone that's looking for something really powerful with the woody, ambery touches, and of course the booziness that comes in there as well. But you will get a DNA. It will come in and remind you of the fragrances of Sospiro, and so you'll be reminded of it, and also you'll be familiar with the experience, the wearing experience of the fragrances of Sospiro. It definitely wears just like the other 2 fragrances. And that's what I like about this house. They have really powerful fragrances and really great smells. But for me, number 1 and number 2 does happen to be Dolce Sonata and Dolce Melodia. In fact, I've featured Dolce Melodia in a Scent Club kit before. And so it's a really great fruity, floral, ambery, intense fragrance. And then, of course, last year's launch, Dolce Sonata, is also really super delicious and really great sillage with these fragrances. And they shine in the heat. And even though some of you might say, would you really wear Il Padrino in the heat? If you're comfortable wearing those kind of fragrances, then do it. If you are asking that question, don't wear it. But for me, I wear these kind of fragrances when it's hot out. I know how to control the sprays. I know if it's going to choke me out and things like that, and I'll stay away from wearing it. But for me, these kind of fragrances really come alive in the heat, and the warmth of the weather, and also if there's humidity out there, really makes the fragrances open up, and you really experience all that the fragrance has to offer with the heat, because the heat is what really amplifies the oils in the fragrances, and that's when I experience them the best. It's especially when I travel to like really hot, humid climates and I'm like at a perfume shop. I spritz some stuff on and I walk out into the heat. The fragrances are just so amazing, and I like that about these fragrances because even though they're Eau De Parfum, I feel like they act like Extrait de Parfum. So it's definitely honest here with my review of Il Padrino. I like the way it smells. I like its intensity. I like the woody, ambery touches with the booziness. But for me, when I'm ranking them against other Sospiro fragrances, I do prefer Dolce Sonata at number 2 and Dolce Melodia at number 1. Let me know your thoughts on Il Padrino. Have you enjoyed it? Add a comment below. And what about Vibrato? Vibrato, as I said, for me, doesn't remind me of the DNA of these other 3 fragrances. It for sure reminds me of Tigar, but done in a different way. But I also really enjoy Vibrato's intensity. I think it's a great, intense, freshy and zingy spicy. So again, if you're on the hunt for a new fragrance, definitely check that one out as well. But let's move on to the FOMO fragrance. This is FRAGLOVER'S Tea. So when I first received this fragrance, it was in a dark bottle. I was expecting something completely different. It's interesting also, I don't know if it was subconscious. I got some smoky elements from this fragrance, but the more I wore it, I started familiarizing with myself of what it reminded me of. It reminds me of this fragrance, the now discontinued Gucci Pour Homme 2. So Gucci Pour Homme 2 was a great fragrance. I really loved it. I came on the scene just as Gucci Pour Homme 1 was getting discontinued, but this fragrance was still around and I really loved it. I didn't really enjoy its performance. It was soft wearing. So when I have a fragrance that's soft wearing, the longevity is not going to be great. Projection and things like that on that fragrance were also a bit lackluster. I would say they weren't intense. They weren't completely weak, but it was definitely soft. It wore soft, but really, really loved the way the fragrance smelled. It was a great, very cozy tea fragrance, which I really, really enjoyed. And then when I started wearing this, it started reminding me of Gucci Pour Homme 2. And I thought, wow, they've done a really great job with a fragrance, recreating a fragrance to remind us of something that's been discontinued. Because fragrance discontinuations are some of the things that we despise the most, but unfortunately it happens, lack of sales, banning ingredients and things like that. So if we love a fragrance a lot, we better, get a couple of backup bottles of that fragrance, because we never know how long the fragrance will, still be around. There's fragrances that are out there that are, around for 30, 40, 50 years. But some of the ones that they have, they're not making sales, or, banned ingredients and things like that, too costly to reformulate, to try and replicate the smell that it was, they basically kill them. But I didn't realize that they would do such a great job at recreating a fragrance and improving upon it, which is what they've done here with the FRAGLOVER'S tea. It is an Extrait de Parfum, so it's quite long lasting. And also, it's super reminder of the OG, but in a much more powerful way. So FRAGLOVER'S tea has notes of bergamot, mandarin, pink pepper, rose, violet, black tea, sandalwood, and musk. And for me, what was really unique about Gucci Pour Homme 2, did I say Gucci Pour Homme 1 earlier? I'm sorry if I did, but this is Gucci Pour Homme 2. What was really unique about Gucci Pour Homme 2 was the tea and the violet leaves. Here, they claim that it's violet, and I'm assuming they're referring to the violet leaves. Maybe they have a combo of both the flowers and the leaves as well. For me, the leaves is what gives it the freshness, the ozonic, crisp freshness. And when I wear this one, the violet leaves are so prominent, it's really intense. And I like that about it, because ozonic notes, which are what violet leaves are, adds a very crisp layer to the fragrance. And even though tea can be very soft and cozy and, not necessarily like crisp and sharp, here you've got the combo of the both. A lot of crispness, of freshness, ozonic wateriness, and also this super cozy tea effect in here, creating a bit of a greenness. So it's very woody, very fresh and ozonic and spicy and, overdosed with the tea. And I think, again, they've improved upon the OG here, and they give us something really great. So if those of you are looking for a bottle of Gucci Pour Homme 2, this is definitely a solid offering. It won't disappoint. At least for me, it doesn't. I like that it's really, really, similar to the OG, but also improved upon. Again, they've removed the softness and they've intensified the fragrance. So it's a really great fragrance. And for me, I think this is a perfect summertime offering. It's very fresh and woody. So it's not, even though it's in the black bottle, and I wasn't expecting the fragrance I got, but I really, really enjoy what they have delivered. And especially the fact that they've improved upon the fragrance that we all love and consider one of the best fragrances ever released, Gucci Pour Homme 2. Now, my only negative thing about this is, and I don't usually speak a lot about dupes or clones, I like to find dupes or clones or alternatives of fragrances that are discontinued. And so this is a great case here with a great job. But my only negativity about this fragrance is this box. I know what they're trying to do, but it's too much box for me for a fragrance that only costs about $44, because that's what this fragrance costs, is $43.99 over at Fragrance Buy. So it is a bit too much box for me, but what I got inside is really, really great juice and a great alternative or replacement for Gucci Pour Homme 2. Have you guys compared this? Have you gotten your nose on it? Let me know. Add a comment below. And that's basically all I have for you guys. Honestly, I'm telling you what I think about Il Padrino. I love it. It smells great, but when comparing it with the other two that I really love, it takes the third place. And this is definitely my top 4 Sospiro. I'll have to kind of dig through some of their other fragrances and see what my number 5 would be. But for sure, Il Padrino number 3, Dolce Sonata at number 2, and Dolce Melodia still at number 1. So good. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.